It all started with what seemed like an innocent post. On a late spring day, May 27, 2025, Karina of Aespa uploaded a photo to her Instagram. It was a simple picture of her in a red jacket, but it was the number 2 emblazoned on it that would ignite a firestorm. In the hypercharged, politically sensitive landscape of South Korea, symbols are never just symbols. Netizens were quick to connect the dots, interpreting the number as a silent show of support for the conservative presidential candidate Kim Moon-soo. The comment section exploded, not with praise for her style, but with a torrent of anger and disbelief. The image of a beloved K-pop idol was suddenly and violently politicized. The reaction was so swift and so severe that Karina quickly deleted the post, but the internet never forgets. Screenshots circulated and the narrative began to spiral. Some hailed her as a right-wing goddess, further fueling the division, while others felt a deep sense of betrayal. The situation demanded damage control, and SM Entertainment was quick to step in. The agency issued a formal apology, stating there were no hidden intentions, and that Karina had deleted the post upon realizing the potential for misunderstandings. They expressed regret for the unintentional concern and promised to be more careful in the future. But for many, the corporate statement felt sterile and insufficient. The public waited for a personal touch, for Karina's own voice to address the chaos. When Karina's personal apology finally arrived on her online messaging platform, it unfortunately did little to quell the anger. The message was brief, a digital note saying, "I'm so sorry for having worried you. I totally didn't mean it." She apologized for the misunderstanding and promised to be more heedful of her actions. But Korean netizens instantly labeled it as insincere and underwhelming. The core of the criticism was the timing and the length. Many felt she had waited too long to only offer a few short lines. This digital note sparked an unintended and brutal comparison. Netizens resurfaced the lengthy, heartfelt handwritten letter she had released just months prior, when her relationship with actor Lee Jae-wook was confirmed. The juxtaposition was damning in the court of public opinion. Fans and antis alike couldn't help but question the priorities. A deeply personal, handwritten apology for dating versus a short digital message for a major political controversy. This perception, whether fair or not, left a stain on her reputation. The tangible consequences soon followed. Her Instagram follower count plummeted, and perhaps more tellingly, her brand reputation ranking, a key indicator of an idol's marketability in Korea, took a massive hit, dropping from an impressive 4th place all the way down to 26th. The nation's it girl was suddenly facing a crisis of faith. The scandal had a long tail, and Karina found herself addressing it once more, this time on a public talk show. She spoke of her wish for everyone to live peacefully without trouble, and reiterated that she had no such political intentions. She expressed genuine sorrow for causing worry and distress to her fans, but it was in a subsequent viral clip where she offered the full story behind the infamous jacket. She explained it was a simple, impulsive purchase made because she was cold while out with staff. The photo was just a way to connect with fans, a mundane update. She stated she was completely ignorant of the jacket's potential political connotations and only realized the gravity after being contacted by her team and deleting the post. "Looking back, I was really ignorant about it all," she admitted. "Even from thousands of miles away, the truth was a responsibility I could not escape. Truly was ignorant. I get that now." She took responsibility for causing the talk, but what seemed to hurt her the most was seeing her fellow Aespa members get dragged into the controversy and affected by the backlash. For some fans, this explanation provided much-needed context and humanized her, showing a young woman caught in a storm she never saw coming. Yet, for a significant portion of the public, the damage was already done. The questions lingered. Why did this full explanation come so much later? And why was the initial apology so lacking? The incident left a permanent mark, a lesson in the immense pressure and scrutiny that comes with fame, where every action, no matter how small, is placed under a microscope. Just as the political scandal began to recede from the headlines, a new wave of criticism emerged, this time targeting the very foundation of her career, her performance skills. The setting was the Waterbomb 2025 Festival, a high-energy, chaotic event known for its water fights and intense summer party atmosphere. Karina took the stage for a solo performance, an opportunity to showcase her individual artistry. However, the excitement was quickly tempered for many viewers by accusations of pervasive lip-syncing. In an era where live, stable vocals are a prized metric of an idol's talent, the criticism was swift and harsh. Detractors argued that a solo stage at such a major event lost all its impact if the singing wasn't live, that it felt like a hollow spectacle. Defenders, however, rushed to her aid, pointing to the extreme physical demands of the Waterbomb Festival. They argued that performing complex choreography while being drenched with water under the blistering summer heat made live singing nearly impossible impossible and potentially unsafe. They cited technical limitations with water and audio equipment as further justification. This defense, however, opened up an older, lingering critique about Aespa's overall performance style, with lip-syncing accusations having followed the group for years. The water bomb incident became a flashpoint, shifting the conversation from Karina's offstage controversies to her onstage capabilities. The most damaging blow to her performance reputation was yet to come. On September 12th, Aespa performed their song Rich Man on a popular U.S. morning show. While the entire group's performance was criticized by some for feeling awkward and lacking their usual dynamic energy, it was Karina's specific moment in the spotlight that went viral for all the wrong reasons. The performance featured her signature bridge part, a solo rap and dance break that is often a highlight in their concert stages, amplified by dramatic lighting, supporting dancers, and complex camera work. But on the relatively bare morning show stage, stripped of those production enhancements, the moment felt starkly different. Karina was left alone in the spotlight performing to a pre-recorded track. The change was jarring. The emptiness of the stage drew all attention to her dancing, and a wave of critics emerged, claiming her movements lacked the powerful energy and commanding stage presence expected of a main dancer. The online feedback was brutal. Comments flooded social media platforms, with users calling her mediocre, criticizing her zero stage presence, and labeling her the most mediocre main dancer of her generation. This was no longer about a political misunderstanding or festival lip-syncing. This was a direct challenge to her official position within the group and the industry. The title of main dancer carries a certain weight, a promise of exceptional skill and charisma, and this viral moment led to widespread discussions and debates about whether Karina truly embodied that title. The controversy had now come full circle, attacking not just her public persona, but her artistic credibility. So, where does this series of events leave the public perception of Karina? It reveals a fascinating and brutal anatomy of a modern celebrity downfall. It began with a political firestorm, a crisis managed with what was perceived as a lukewarm and delayed response, creating a narrative of insincerity. This was then compounded by performance-related controversies that struck at the heart of her professional identity. The journey from nation's it girl to a figure mired in criticism is a stark reminder of the fragile ecosystem that K-pop idols inhabit. They are expected to be not only flawless performers, but also politically neutral, socially aware, and eternally grateful public figures. A single misstep, whether a questionable sartorial choice or a perceived lackluster stage, can be amplified through the relentless echo chamber of social media, creating a cascade of negative press. The hate towards Karina, therefore, cannot be easily dismissed as entirely invalid nor wholly justified. It exists in a gray area, a complex mix of genuine criticism over her performance abilities, valid questions about an idol's responsibility to be socially aware, and the often overwhelming toxicity of online mob mentality. Her story is a case study in how quickly public opinion can turn, how a pristine image can be fractured, and the immense pressure that rests on the shoulders of those in the spotlight. The question that remains is not just about the validity of the hate, but about whether an idol, once caught in such a storm, can ever fully rebuild the unwavering trust and adoration they once commanded.